Hello and welcome to Getting Into Games. Georgia and I are your hosts for today. I've worked in the games industry for about 30 years now, from self-publishing on home computers to being producer on the early Grand Theft Auto games to being games commissioner at Channel 4 Television, and now running Games Jobs Live, online recruitment events for the games industry. Oh, Georgia, you're on mute. We've got to get that in early, don't we? Got to be on mute.
Classic every time. Hello everyone, my name is Georgia. I'm a 3D character artist currently working at Mediatonic on Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout. I've been in the games industry for 3 years now, and I regularly appear at events aimed at helping young people bridge the gap between education and game studios. So the core focus for today is for people who are thinking about their first steps into the industry. However, I know we've got a huge range of people watching, and there's going to be plenty of tips and insight for any of you who are a little earlier or a little later in your careers.
The games industry today is worth $160 billion, with over 2.5 billion people globally playing video games. And in a time when most industries have struggled to adapt to COVID, the games industry has gone from strength to strength. The excellence that goes into modern games is also commonly overlooked. The UK in particular is a real powerhouse in terms of both technical expertise and creative vision. We've made some of the biggest games on the planet: Football Manager, Sea of Thieves, Worms, RuneScape, Fall Guys, Tomb Raider, Lemmings, Grand Theft Auto, and many, many more. Our games have been loved by hundreds of millions, if not billions, of people all around the globe. And today, we're hoping that we have the next generation of games developers watching. We have some of the leading lights from the current generation to chat about what it's like to work for them and how to get into the industry. To fit in so many great organizations, we only have a few minutes with each. But afterwards, Georgia and I can put a couple of questions to them. So get your questions ready.
Yeah, definitely get those ready. And today's event has been made possible with the kind support of the University of Salford, Escape Studios, and Abertay University. Each of them have a bunch of people ready to answer any of your questions on the Discord server. So make sure you're on there so you can ask whatever you'd like to know. If you don't have the link from the event emails, then in a web browser, go to discord.gamesjobs.live. You'll also see it scrolling along the bottom of the screen throughout the event. Oh, there it goes. Now, woohoo! Once there, under Games Jobs Live, you're going to see 5 general channels, and those are for chatting with the other attendees today. But if you want Colin and I to ask your questions in person while the speakers are on, then please put those questions in the live stream questions channel. You're going to see dedicated channels for the University of Salford, Escape Studios, and Abertay University. And there's going to be loads of people in there waiting to answer your questions from now until about 6 p.m. However, please do not give any personal information to anybody in the Discord, no matter who they say they are. You guys should be the ones answering the questions today. So if you see any inappropriate comments, or if you ask for any personal information, then please alert one of our moderators or anyone with the universities and colleges role. They can delete and ban any idiots, and we have had a few of those already. So anyone who's being inappropriate or annoying, we'll get them gone, and hopefully your chances of getting into the industry just increased.
It's like Squid Game all over again.
Really?
For everyone watching this live, you'll get the most out of this because you can chat to the companies in the Discord. But this stream will also be available to watch on catch up at exactly the same link. So if you want to rewatch bits, copy down information, or just pass it along to anyone else that you think will benefit from it. If you are enjoying this, please do like and subscribe the video. And if you've just rocked up to watch this but haven't registered, that's okay. You're still very welcome to take part. But if you'd like to get more information from the games courses at Abertay, Salford, and Escape, then I'd recommend signing up at, and let me just bring the address up here. If you in a web browser, if you go to career.gamesjobs.live, in a web browser. That's career.gamesjobs.live. You can still sign up for the Eventbrite. And providing you give us your permission to do so, we can then pass your details along to those organisations to send you more details. I would just like to say a massive thank you to all the companies that are taking part today, to Creative Assembly, to Frontier Developments, to Codemasters, to Unity and Double 11. I'd like to say thank you to our Discord moderators, Gianmarco, Elspeth, Sam, David and Marshall, and of course to our sponsors, to Escape Studios, Abertay University and the University of Salford for their support in making today happen. Thank you all so much. All those institutions have fantastic courses that have already helped thousands of people get into the games industry. So do take advantage of them being available here today. As Georgia said, we'll try and put a couple of questions live to each speaker after they've presented, but you can then follow up in the Discord and ask as many questions as you want. And Abertay, Salford and Escape all have people in the Discord that will try and answer all your questions. So if you're not already on, get on the Discord. The link, as Georgia said, will keep scrolling along the bottom of the screen. It's discord.gamesjobs.live.
Amazing. Yeah, I think that's enough from us now. We're going to get some of our brilliant speakers on, and remember to post the questions that you'd like us to put to them in livestream questions channel on Discord. Done it that way.
Absolutely. Our first speaker joins us from my hometown of Dundee, from Abertay University, the first university in the world to start games courses over 20 years ago. So please welcome Rona from Abertay University. Hi, Rona.
Hi there. Hi. So my name's Rona and I'm a student recruitment officer at Abertay. So it's great to see you all. But before I say anything more about Abertay, and also I've got two students here I'm going to introduce to you later, please have a look at this fantastic showreel. Well, that was an absolute amazing showreel about Abertay University, highlighting our teaching environments and our quality, our TIGA UK Games Education Awards, being best in Europe for our video games education, our graduate prospects of in gaming industry, and of course, excellent examples of our amazing, absolutely amazing student work. So just in case anybody doesn't know where Abertay is, we're right in the city centre of Dundee, on the east coast of Scotland, the hub of Scotland's booming gaming industry. We're a small and friendly university with approximately 4,000 students. We are a modern, industry-led university that take pride in the specialist courses that we offer. We have 4 gaming courses. So we've got 4 gaming courses at Abertay, undergraduate gaming courses, 2 of which are focused on games programming, which is our computer games technology degree. And we've got computer game applications development, where CGT has applied maths running all the way through it with some procedural generation. And we've got the CGAD, which is the maths is still there, but not as deep as CGT. They've got gameplay mechanics and games tools development as well. And the other two courses are related to design and art. So we've got game design and production, and we have computer arts. So GDP, developed for the creative and technically minded, teaching you game concept and asset creation, game prototyping and production, and also leadership skills. With our computer arts degree, this course will equip you with the necessary practical skills, theoretical knowledge, and creative tools you need to explore and build your digital arts and design practice. We consider lots of different types of qualifications, for example, Scottish Highers, A-levels, BTECs, HNCs, HNGs. So please, like we're saying right at the start, please come along and chat with us on Discord to discuss all your options that are potentially available for you. I now have Nicola, one of our amazing gaming students, is going to tell you a wee bit about Abertay.
Hi everyone, I think you can hear me. I'm Nicola, a fourth-year game design student at Abertay University. If you're interested in making games, you might have heard from professionals that the best way to learn is to just start making something, but it can be hard to start when you're on your own. Abertay helps you overcome the barriers. The modules are heavily based on practice. From first to fourth year, there is a lot of emphasis on learning by doing, and by the end, you will leave the course with a rich portfolio of games and prototypes that you will make on your own and in a team. You will also get a good deal of theory to form a solid foundation for your expertise, but the greatest thing about Abertay is just that it is for people that want to make games. Now I'll leave the word to Safia, who will tell you a bit more about the university.
Hello, I'm Safia. I'm also a fourth-year game design and production student, and one of my favorite things about studying at Abertay is how welcoming and friendly the university is, but how diverse its people are. It is a small university, but yet it's so internationally diverse. When I graduate, I'm hoping to launch a groundbreaking indie game studio with my partner. It's a challenging prospect, but the university provides so much support for its students to become who they want to become, including opportunities like the design competition Dare Academy or the Enterprise Center Bell Street Ventures. And
thank you. That was excellent. Thank you both. So all 3 of us, and actually there's other people also in Discord. We've got Abertay recruiters, we've got our experienced and knowledgeable gaming academics are all going to be on Discord. So please come and chat to us and ask us any questions you have about Abertay, about our courses, and we'll be there until 6 o'clock. So looking forward to receiving your questions.
Brilliant stuff. That was a sizzling show reel.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, brilliant. And thanks so much for sharing your experience, guys. It sounds great. So we're just checking out some of the questions in the live stream. There's been a good one here, which is, do you need maths at A level in order to do a video gaming course at university level?
Well, like I said earlier, for our 2 games programming ones and also coding, we're looking for sort of A-level maths for one of them, especially computer games technology, because there's quite a lot of maths in it. It's about 80% mathematics in the course. So you'll need to be quite good at maths to do that course. Our computer games applications development degree, it's mainly GCSE maths, so it's not as intense maths. Our other 2 degrees, game design production and computer arts, they are not relating to maths. You don't need maths, but you'll need something like, for the computer arts, you'll need an A-level in art or something relating to art. And the game design production, it doesn't actually ask for any specific subjects, but our A-levels, we're asking for 3 different A-levels. I think something like 2 Bs and a C at A-level. Sorry for going on about it, but hopefully that's clear.
Great info. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Perfect. I wanted to pick up, it was a question from Blue that posted in the live stream questions comment on the Discord, just asking about apprenticeships, graduate apprenticeships, and work experience and that kind of thing. I mean, I know from my own close history with Abertay that Abertay works very closely with a lot of the local games companies. I mean, what all does that entail?
Well, I don't know whether the students want to talk something about a wee bit about their third year project. Does any of you guys want to mention about your third year project?
Yeah, you definitely get involved with a lot of studios around Dundee. For example, for my third year project, I got involved with a company that is just based outside of the university, which is Tiny Little Games. I also had experience with other companies. For example, I did a 3 days work experience at Outplay Entertainment, which is a mobile game company outside of Dundee. And I think there's another experience that is just being advertised in these days with Sumo Digital, which is also in Dundee for a game design position for students. So you definitely get a lot of involvement with other companies in town.
And if you're more interested about applied game research, for example, or game studies in third year, you also have the opportunity to work with research, game research projects, like, for example, In-Game International or other organizations that are looking for games for the project.
Brilliant. And this might be another question for you guys, Safia and Nicola. So this question came through the Discord as well. And they have asked, I wanted to get a head start by learning programming theory, pre-calc, and a little C++. That's a lot, as it's all things that I will need for first year. But I find it intimidating when studying at home. What would you recommend I do? So I think if you guys could just elaborate maybe on how someone might prepare for their first year of university at Abertay.
Do you want to start, Safia?
Sure. I think it really depends on if they're interested in studying game design production, or, for example, CGAD or CGC. But for example, I can talk for game design and production. It could be interesting to have a little look at the engine Unity, for example. Unity have a lot of mini templates, mini games that people can mod and.
I think we've just lost Safia.
Oh, she's back.
Yep, we're back.
Yeah, sorry, continue, Safia.
Oh, sorry, did you just speak?
Yeah, we lost you for a few seconds.
Oh, apologies. I'm losing everyone, so I think someone else should.
Oh, no worries, Safia. You mentioned that getting hands-on with Unity would be a good idea, and I fully agree with that. Nicola, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, we'll extend on what Safia said. Also, it depends on what course you apply to. For example, in game design and production, they do teach some programming, but they expect nothing from you. They expect you have never learned programming before, and it's kind of it's a process. So it took me actually 2 years to actually understand programming fully and be comfortable with programming. So you can start getting prepared, but you don't need to know everything when you start. It's actually a very long process, and you can get started if you want, but don't worry about it.
The first year is very generalist, and I think they give you a really good introduction, and it's really in second year and then third year that you really specialize yourself. So
yes.
Perfect. Yeah, that's a lot of information. Thank you so much. We've got a ton more questions, but we need to move on, I'm afraid. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. You're all in the Discord, aren't you?
Yes, we're all in Discord to answer any questions you have. I think we've got 3 channels, so please fire away the questions on Discord.
Yeah,
absolutely. So if you're not already on the Discord, jump on. It's discord.gamesjobs.live. Chat to Rona, Nicola and Safia from Abertay, as well as everyone else. That they've got a whole bunch of people on there for the next 2 hours until 6 o'clock. So get on there and ask all your questions. Folks, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Goodbye.
bye.
Well, that was absolutely brilliant stuff there from Abertay University. And they actually do have some specific channels on the Discord. So if you want to check those out, they have Abertay Design Art, and they also have Abertay Programming as well as Abertay General. So do shift across into those if you had questions in the live stream channel. They'll be able to answer them themselves there. So if you are not already on the Discord, the link is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Jump on, chat to them. And put some questions in the live stream channel if you have any more live questions that you want answered by our great companies coming up. So next, this is a company that was formed way back in 1986. They're based outside Leamington Spa in the Midlands, and they have a reputation for racing games. They make the hugely popular Dirt, Grid, Formula One, and Project Cars games. And here from Codemasters to tell us a little bit more are Pete Johnson and Carl Morris. Hi, guys.
Hi, Georgia. Hi, Colin.
Hello. Hello, all.
Great. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll just hand over to you.
No problem at all. I'm going to go straight into this slide. So hopefully you can see my screen. Please say yes.
Yeah, we can see it, Pete. Don't worry.
Thank God, that's a good start, right? So yeah, as it says, welcome to Codemasters, and thanks for the introduction, Georgia. Yeah, we've been around a long, long time, nearly as long as I've been born. So that gives you an idea of my age, but we won't go any further with that. So yeah, without further ado, welcome to Codemasters. Just wanted to kind of introduce ourselves. I'm Pete, this is Carl. We're part of the recruitment team, which is growing, which is great. We're headed up with our amazing manager, Meg Daintiff, and then we're supported by equally amazing Lucy and Lizzie, who are our talent coordinators, arranging all of our interviews. So they've certainly been busy the past few months, years, I should say. So we've had quite a lot going on with ourselves in the last kind of year or so. We were acquired by EA earlier this year. And similar to EA, we strive to be the world's greatest games company, and particularly kind of the world's greatest racing games company. We've certainly got the heritage. So a little bit about Codemasters. We've been going for 35 years. We're a multi-platform publisher and developer, now obviously a part of the biggest publisher in the world, which is EA. Ourselves, we acquired a studio back in 2019, towards the end of that year, in the form of Slightly Mad Studios. So the talent behind the Project Cars series and the Need for Speed Shift series. We've got 3 studios across the UK. We have our Cheshire studio, where Carl and I are based out of. That's the home of Dirt 5 most recently, and also kind of famous for Onrush, Motorstorm, Drive Club, prior to that when it was Evolution Studios. We've got our Birmingham studio in the city centre, a stone's throw from New Street Station, and that's home to the award-winning Formula One franchise, which just keeps getting better and better. And then finally, we have our Southam studio, which is, as Georgia mentioned, just on the outskirts of Leamington Spa in Southam. And that is where our Rally studio and our Grid studio are also based. And then we also have 2 studios overseas in Malaysia who support us with our kind of vehicle assets and whatnot. Now, I'm going to hedge my bets, and a lot of our audience today probably haven't been around for 35 years, let alone played some of these games. But I just wanted to kind of demonstrate it's a real kind of diverse collection of games that we've had an IP over the 3 decades, ranging from what I remember, kind of the Dizzy franchise and my brother's Atari, the Colin McRae series, which I know is kind of a lot of people's favorites, but then also things like Operation Flashpoint and Overlord. That was a really kind of cool game back in its day. And as you can see, we've won a range of awards. Those are some of the kind of the most recent ones there as well. So I'm going to hand you over to Carl, who's going to tell you about some of the types of jobs in the games industry.
Brilliant. Thank you, Pete. As you can see on screen there are tons of different job roles within the gaming industry, whether that to be part of creating the game, such as artists, testers, or even IT, to working within a gaming company on roles such as HR, finance, support staff, and recruitment like us. We will discuss those in a little bit more detail in a second or two. It is really important to know, however, that you don't always need to have a degree attributed to gaming to be successful in getting a role in the industry. However, you must be prepared to demonstrate your skills, your knowledge and potential by other means, such as portfolios and show reels. Also, when applying, make your CV stand out to a potential recruiter like ourselves. Tell us what you can do on your CV and make us want to call you. So moving on into a little bit more detail, as you can see on screen, about some of the roles within a video game company, starting with art. Now, if you can draw more than a stick man, which is where my limits lie, then a career in art may be the one for you. As you can see, tons of routes that you can go down within art on screen. One of the most notable ones within Codemasters is the environments that we have in games. You may have seen some of the fantastic cities and off-road tracks in game that have all been drawn by somebody, an environment artist. It's worth noting within art, if you do work for a smaller studio, you usually do a lot of different aspects of art and cover a lot of different areas. If you work for a larger company, then there is more of a chance of a specialist career, as some of the ones shown above. Important softwares to note within art are 3ds Max and Maya, and also worth noting to set up on ArtStation accounts and also show your best work in your portfolio. Onto the design one now. Again, a fair few roles within design, but what does it involve? Game design, for example. Now, a games director will have the creative vision, but imagine having a blank canvas and given the opportunity to literally design a game from an idea. Design the features, the content, the environments, the journey. That is all you. This is what a game designer does. A level designer, design the tracks for our racing games, for example. Are they off-road, city races, up snowy mountains or down muddy slopes? Again, you design this within the game. To be a designer, you need to be passionate, full of ideas, and dedicated. But no, not to take things too personally, as throughout the process, other parts of the team may change some of your designs along the way. Going back now to Pete with some more of the jobs.
Cheers, Carl. So yeah, just like Rona and the guys over at Abertay were touching on, that programming is also obviously a huge part of game development. It's taking the ideas from the likes of the designers and the art teams, and how do we actually make it work? How can we make the game actually exist? So the coding that goes behind that. So you can see there's a number of specialisms within programming that you can get to. So gameplay speaks for itself, graphics or rendering as it's also known as, physics to network kind of on the back end side, making the kind of the functionality to connect, hundreds, thousands of players within your game infrastructure. Again, similar to what Rona was saying, I think one of the questions was around kind of maths. Do I need maths to become a programmer? It certainly does help, kind of applied maths, for example, pure maths. But, it's not the be all and end all. If you can, again, show, as Carl said, kind of with portfolios, demo reels, GitHubs and what have you, that certainly does go a long way to kind of convincing people like ourselves, as recruiters to give you a chance for us to kind of pick up the phone and speak to you and give you the opportunity to kind of prove to us even, why we should put you forward in front of a hiring manager. Two main languages that we look for within Codemasters, and also across kind of the industry, you'll come across this a lot, is C++, that's our main language, and then also kind of C#, which tends to be more kind of on the back end or the tools side of programming. And then finally, just kind of wanted to kind of condense and appreciate there's a lot of work that we've covered here, but we haven't got a lot of time to kind of tell you. So happy to obviously answer questions on the Discord, but production and quality verification, or testing, or quality assurance as it can be known as well. So production can be a really good opportunity to get into the games industry. As an associate producer, for example, these are people who, are tasked with kind of making sure that everything is scheduled, tracking on time. If it's behind schedule, it's getting it back on course, and just communicating across all of the teams within the development studio. So it's a really kind of exciting, really kind of varied opportunity. And then finally, kind of the QV, or the quality verification side. This is your chance to kind of test games and get paid for it. Sounds amazing. It is amazing, right? But it's not all kind of, fun and games, shall we say. So you will be playing games to the point where you want to break it. Then you have to kind of reproduce that. How did I break it? How can I then report that bug up to the programming team to then escalate and then put a bug fix in there? So real kind of meticulous eye for detail, and also someone who's comfortable with kind of using the likes of Excel, for example, to track those bug reports and what have you. So finally, I don't need to tell, hopefully, the audience this, but the games industry is an amazing place to work. It genuinely is. I've been in it now for just over 2 years, and I've done so much in such a small period of time. And Carl's only just joined us kind of a month ago, so he'll definitely be able to kind of vouch for me there. So I think both EA and Codemasters, there's been, unfortunately, some negative backlash and stories that have come out, in particular with the games industry, some of the big players where, you know, staff have been mistreated and what have you. You know, both EA and Codemasters, we take staff well-being, safety, and everything else really very seriously. You know, as we've put here, you know, we do believe in the potential of every person that works for us. You know, so we celebrate diversity culturally, lifestyle, age, religion, experience, gender, however you associate with yourself. And finally, I would encourage you, you know, please take a look at the Codemasters website, have a look at our current career opportunities at codemasters.com. And that's it from us. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that, gents. Let me just take your presentation down. Great. We've only got a minute or two for questions. A couple of great ones, though. Max
Really
asks a question that I'll paraphrase. Basically, in terms of looking for putting together an audio portfolio, given that the Codemasters has a reputation for racing games, are you looking for someone that's got a show reel that's tailored towards racing games, or can they put together a more general portfolio?
That's a great question. It's one that we've recently had as well, actually. So we recently filled an audio designer. So these are the guys that kind of go out on the field and record these amazing kind of £250,000 cars. Yeah, you know, just got to get up, get out of bed, record a Ferrari and all of that. Happy days. So yeah, and that was something that kind of I had quite a lot of questions about. So no, it's not essential. Same goes across all of our roles. I would say it's not essential that you're a petrol head. It's not essential that you're into your racing games. Obviously, if you are, that helps, definitely does. But I think in terms of if you have got an interest in kind of, you know, racing audio, whether it's exhaust, pipes, or anything like that, engine sounds, show us. You know, that'd be amazing. I think it's really important, yeah, on your show reels, you know, that you're demonstrating what you can do, even if it's kind of taking an advert, one of our trailers, for example, for one of our games, and maybe just kind of reworking it. That'd be pretty cool. I saw a couple of people do that. But yeah, not going to be a kind of a blocker if you're not into your racing games, or you can't show us that.
Oh, wow. That is really great and very specific advice. I hope any budding sound designers out there are taking notes. So we also got a question along the 3D art and design line. This is a question from Breezy, and they asked, as someone currently in the third year of university and also creating a racetrack environment, what would make it stand out? So what are the standout areas that you would be looking for when hiring environment artists for Codemasters? And I know that you have some great environment artists because I know a bunch of them.
Yeah, I was going to say, get some nice looking trees.
Nice trees.
You know, how good looking is your tarmac circuits and stuff like that. I think the first protocol would be to have a look at the subject matter. So have a look at our games, have a look at our competition. You know, Forza Horizon 5, it's amazing. You know what those guys have done, and then, you know, Carl and I have seen what the guys in our studios are working on that are announced or unannounced. And yeah, it's always, the bar's always going higher. So I think, you know, you want to constantly kind of be aware of what is out there, kind of what is the current look of racing games and environments in particular, and use that as your kind of your subject matter in terms of working off. But I think for us, you know, we're not looking for kind of photorealism necessarily, because some of our games aren't like that. So like Dirt 5 is more kind of, you know, bombastic, and like Fast and Furious Crossroads and what have you. And then, yeah, you know, then on the other side, you've got the Formula One and you've got Dirt Rally, where you've got track degradation and the mud spitting up and everything like that. So I think, yeah, just have a look at our games, have a look at racing games in general, and use that as your kind of your palette really to work off.
I think just to add to that as well, just very quickly, I know we're done for time, but in terms of the CV, as I said, during a little presentation there, it's great having the show reels, put them on your CV, put the links on, but explain what's in there, because we don't always have the time to click into show reels. It's sometimes around, you know, what stands out on the CV. So tell us what's in the show reel on your CV. Don't be afraid to do that. Say, look, I have used X, Y, and Z in terms of programs. In here, you will see examples of, and then that will make us click into it. Like I said, if it's just full of links, sometimes we wouldn't click into them. It doesn't stand out. So tell us on your CV, use that as your, this is what I've done, include the links and let us follow it, make a trail for us to follow, basically.
That's great. Yeah, what Carl, what you've just said there is great, actually. Yeah, and a real good area to touch on. I think this goes for things like level designers as well. You may not have the finished article. You may kind of, I don't know, hit a blocker and you just can't finish it for one reason or another. We still want to see that, and like Carl said, we want to have that commentary, because the guys, you've got to get past us first, right? And we are nice people. We really are. We do try and obviously, push through as much work as it is relevant to the hiring managers to review. But when you get hundreds of applications every day, it's tough. But I think in terms of the hiring managers, they want to see it. They've been there in your shoes before. And I think I'd say that to all the guys and girls out there, that they've been in your shoes. And I think if things just haven't worked the way that you wanted it to, that's fine. But just let us know, what you did up to that point and what you would perhaps look to do differently, next opportunity you had.
Yeah, that's really encouraging, actually. And I think I'm going to take on some of that advice as well, because I definitely haven't been paying as much attention to my CV as I should. And everyone out there, make sure you do look at your CVs as well. Thank you so much, guys. That was absolutely fabulous presentation and some really stellar advice. You have a lot of questions. So if everybody could please redirect themselves across to the Codemasters section of the Discord. Oh, there is not a Codemasters section. Go to the general sections. If you guys have a second to hang around and answer some questions, I think people would really appreciate it, because, as I said, there are a lot.
Not a problem at all. No, we'll certainly try and get through as many as we can. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks very much for taking the time to join us.
Pleasure.
Cheers.
Take care.
Thanks so much, guys.
All right, bye. Absolutely. So do jump on the Discord. I don't know. I know Meg from Codemasters was on the Discord. I don't know whether they're going to get time to answer many questions, but by all means ask anyway. But I do know Codemasters, and I think all our companies have hired from each of Abertay, Salford and Escape today. So get on and ask the institutions your questions, because they have plenty of experience of getting people to work in these companies. So get on the Discord and ask away. Meantime, we're already behind. We're spending too much time finding out great things, so we need to keep moving on. So from the Midlands down to London, joining us, where their courses specialise in visual effects, game art and animation. Let us bring on Phil Meredith from Escape Studios. Phil, hi.
Hi, thank you for introducing me. So I'm looking forward to fielding some of your questions as well. I know you've been very busy up to now. Am I able to share my screen to get my presentation?
Yes.
Excellent. Yep. Cool.
If you want to put that full screen, perfect. Although you're in notes view as well, that's perfect. Great. Okay, we'll see you in 5 minutes.
Excellent. Thank you. Cool. So welcome to my talk on Escape Studios. I'm the program leader on the art of video games. We are a boutique university in central London, and I'm going to give you a little bit of advice on getting into the games industry, as well as talking about the course and the structure of our course. So if you're thinking about studying video games, it's not all playing games. Just because you like eating doesn't make you a great chef, and in the same respect, just because you're really good at playing games might not necessarily make you a great games artist. If anything, it makes you being a better games artist might make you worse at playing games, because you learn to break down games and analyze them, and you might be in the middle of a big kill streak and you suddenly stop to admire the texture on a wall, and then it's all over and the zombies get you. So making games and playing games are very, very different kind of things that you can do. So some of the ways that you can kind of enter the games industry, some of the strengths you like to see sort of as a technical artist or a coder, you might be very good with sort of the logic and maths and problem solving. Arts, you're obviously quite creative, maybe good at drawing and visualizing your ideas, design, doing layouts, maps, spawn points, those sort of things, and production, if you're good at an Excel sheet and deadlines. And within these groups, there's also sort of subgroups. So as an artist, you might be a lighting artist or a texture artist or a prop artist, or lots of different disciplines sort of within each discipline. And as you start to specialize, it starts to make you a more of a desirable applicant, I guess, because you really get to focus on being the best lighting artist or the best props artist, as it were. Cool. So games are hard work. So a lot of work goes into making a video game, even making your own games or as part of a team, You have to put in a lot of time, a lot of practice, a lot of trial and error, and learning from mistakes, and a lot of studying and watching YouTube tutorials and various tutorials from around, and really learning the skills, because there's no such thing as sort of a natural games artist. We've all had to kind of learn the skills, understand the softwares, which are getting more and more complex to be able to put together more high resolution, realistic work. It's a very competitive industry. Obviously, lots of people want to get into the games industry, and some disciplines much more competitive than others. Certainly things like concept artists, where you're competing against all the illustrators out there that want to make cool concept art, as well as the games enthusiasts. So a very competitive industry, and it's very team-based as well. All good games are generally made with quite large teams, so you need to learn how to work with others nicely, and to get a unified vision together. But the rewards are great. Like, it's a great working environment, working in game studios, a great culture of working with people, like-minded people that are all interested in making great games and playing games. And seeing your work inside a game is amazing. Seeing people's reaction to your games once you've released them and seen your artwork have been played by millions of people across the world. It's really exciting industry to be part of. So the kind of courses we run at Escape, we have our 3-year BA university degree, which goes obviously up 3 years, and you can extend that to an additional year where you get an integrated master's, which is more of the business end of games development as well, when you're putting together maybe an indie product as part of the team that you might have met on the university as well. So it's a really good lengthy course to be able to hone your skills. We also do shorter courses, 12-week courses, evening classes as well, for doing character creation, games, and effects within games. We're based in the centre of London, which is excellent for us because we're a stone's throw away from lots of big game studios like Sony Entertainment and King just down the road, Rocksteady, and we really kind of lean on all our industry partners to come in and visit the students and talk to us about how they're working in industry, as well as supporting some of our group projects. We're also Unreal Engine Authorised Training Centre, which means that we teach professionals as well as students as well. So we do a lot of teaching throughout the summer with Unreal, and we also get access to sort of all the latest technology and things like that in terms of learning material to be able to keep us cutting edge in the way that we're teaching Unreal Engine. And we're a rookie certified school as well, which is a sort of internationally recognised competition for mostly aimed at students as well, that compete in kind of putting together, whether it be game projects or individual portfolio pieces, where they enter competitions. We've been recognised as an excellent school in this area, actually #1 in the UK this year in terms of the work that we were producing for this competition. So a very exciting space. This is a look at our space at Holborn in central London. We're not a massive university. We're all in one building. We're quite a close-knit community of VFX animators and games people socialising together and learning from each other. And you have these really nice breakout spaces, as well as we don't have sort of big lecture theatres. We're very much set up like a game studio would be, with lots of studio spaces, and we're taught front-facing. Everyone's usually always in front of a computer learning a new skill or developing their work. And we have high-end computers, Wacom tablets, and virtual reality suites as well. So we do a lot of virtual reality work as well now in our 3rd year, which is really cool. Some of the staff at Escape all have long industry backgrounds and working on lots of games throughout lengthy careers that span over 24 years, from early PlayStation games to current gen games. And we're always recruiting new staff. I think we recruited a new tutor yesterday as well, which is great. And you can see some of the work that I've worked on there, starting out on RuneScape, worked on Silent Hill, Harry Potter, so like EA, and some of the big companies around the UK over my career, and the knowledge I impart. This bit of a breakdown of the course. It pretty much runs as if you would be learning it independently. Really, it starts with traditional skills, so storyboarding, art direction, being able to put your ideas down on paper and research them and develop them to a clear intent for something that's going to look great, developing your drawing skills, photo bashing. Not necessarily you need to be great with a pencil to be able to make great art. We do a lot of collage and comping together with 3D assets and things to be able to make cool designs that we can then develop further. In the second term, it's starting to get your introduction to Maya. We use Autodesk Maya, but if you have a background with Blender or 3ds Max, it's an easy transition to go from one to the other, really. Once you've nailed one 3D modeling package, it's not too hard to go to the next. And you'll be learning about UV mapping, texture creation, Unreal Engine, and sort of baking high to low poly, so making highly detailed potion bottles, I think we do in the first year, and bake them down to low poly game efficient models. We also have lots of industry guests throughout the year as well, Supermassive, Playground, EA, M Dreams, Natural Motion, or quite recently visiting the studio to talk to our students. Year 2, so that's where you're going to start learning about mobile games. Sort of early on, we have like a big city builder project where everyone gets kind of a plot of land and they'll build like a building that goes within this city, and you can do kind of stylized or realistic, and it's mostly focused around repeatable assets, so modularity, tiling textures and trim sheets, stuff that gets you a lot of bang for your buck. You know, you make one brick texture, you can cover a whole building, and similar with roof textures and things like that. So it's really about efficiency and making work quite quickly, putting together your ideas. Whereas you go into our next module, which is more of a diorama project, where you're looking at ZBrush, so high-res digital sculpting as well as substance design, using procedural texture processes and more advanced Unreal Engine throughout that project. And going into the next term is when we look at specialism. So as I was talking earlier about the roles within roles, trying to find your specialism amongst the course, whether you want to be a lighting artist or specialize in textures, and it really helps you kind of hone in those skills to be making textures every day or lighting different scenes every day, and not having to worry about making a full production can really help master individual skills. And that would lead into a group project where you'd find your role within a group. We'd have a lighting artist, a producer, an environment artist, and together they'd be able to make a team based on the specialisms. And these are mentored by industry partners. I think we had a Rocksteady in last year to monitor our group project, and they're generally based on existing games. So this was a BioShock recreation of a world. I think we did Demon Souls last year, which was really cool and really good fun to make. Third year, again, very much like driving towards industry and building that portfolio. So we start off with a specialism, a lengthy specialism where you're going to put together, maybe it be a really cool prop or a really nice lighting pass on an environment. And then you also do a professional practice module where it's about CV writing and putting together your cover notes and your application and researching companies that you want to work for, as well as finishing with a big group project, which would be putting together a game environment for a final showcase where we present all the work to industry at a big showcase fair at the end of the year. So that would be the 3-year course of game art. And hopefully by the end, you'd have made a killer portfolio, which is going to give you a good chance of getting a place in industry. So just to see an example of some of our recent graduates that have gone on to find work. This was the ArtStation from Kieran Rowan. I know the previous talker was talking about portfolio being key when it comes to applications. So really about how you can kind of present your work effectively. ArtStation is a great place to put together a portfolio. I shouldn't worry about building your own website unless you want to be a web designer. Much better to use what's there. It's already a really nice kind of arrangement that you can get inside of ArtStation. But it's all about really pushing your work and showing your best stuff, showing your creativity and a range of skills, showing that you can work in a team and that you can work on individual assets. There's some photogrammetry examples as well. So looking at sort of the latest technology and generating 3D assets and being able to optimize it to go into a game world. So we graduate sort of students that also go on to do lighting. I think Willow's, oh no, not going to open that one. But again, it's kind of a portfolio very much based on just lots of lighting. Recently Playground as well. Michael kind of did a lot of weapons throughout his time at Escape, and then put together a really nice portfolio and was able to find a technical art as well very quickly. So we do have an excellent rate of students going into finding their careers, usually around their specialism as well. So VFX example there. Cool. I think I made up some of your time, hopefully, for the talk. I think that's pretty much the end of it. Do check out our Escape website as well, and we have open days and taster days as well that you can come in and really get a full experience of the course. So to come in and be taught by students for the afternoon. So yeah, excellent.
Thanks so much, Bill. That was a lot of great information, very thorough look at the course. So I think everybody's super interested now. We've had lots of requests for the link to the website, so that's been going everywhere. Do you reckon you could answer one of our questions, which is how has teaching been looking for Escape Studios recently in light of COVID? So what have you guys been doing?
Well, we've had to make obviously a lot of changes over last year, especially obviously when full lockdown. We very much went to an online model of online classes, and we really had to boost the amount of support material we can give. We set up our IT department were excellent. They were able to set up a nice VPN system so students could just log straight into the computers that were in the studio and actually use our equipment from home on the relatively ropey kind of computers. So that's really cool that was able to work. This year it's been much more of a return to normal, other than making sure that everyone's healthy. We have health declarations. There's obviously social distancing at points, but it all seems to be going really well this year. I'm back in the classroom teaching daily, and students are coming in and still enjoying the classes as before. But we always record all our classes and things, so we have a great kind of archive of our lessons, so if students aren't able to attend for illness or anything, it's very easy for them to kind of catch up with the amount of support material that we have. So yeah, that were my adjustments.
Brilliant. That's been really insightful. Thank you so much, Phil. We need to move along, I'm afraid.
Okay.
But I know you and some of your colleagues are in the Discord.
Yep. I will jump into the Discord now. Now I'm finished. So, yeah, I'm happy to answer any other questions about the course.
Perfect. Yeah. So if you're not already on the Discord, follow George's finger. Link is scrolling along the bottom of the screen. Discord.gamesjobs.live. That's in a browser and it will redirect you. Punch in discord.gamesjobs.live. Get into the Discord, and Phil and colleagues from Escape will be able to answer all the other questions that we've not had time to put to him. So, Phil, thank you very much for taking the time to join us this afternoon.
Thank you for inviting me.
Cheers. Bye for now.
Thanks, Phil. Awesome. So still to come, we have the University of Salford, Creative Assembly, Double 11, and Unity. But before that, our next company was founded by perhaps the most famous game developer of the 80s, David Braben. And from their base in Cambridge, they are impressively productive, developing not just the Elite Dangerous games, but Jurassic World, Planet Zoo, Planet Coaster, and more. Here from Frontier's recruitment team is Rob Senior. Hi, Rob.
Hey, Georgia. Hey, Colin. How you doing?
Very good. Great. We'll hand over to you, Rob.
Thanks, Colin. So jump straight in, tell you a little bit more about who we are and what we do, and then hopefully share some useful hints and tips with you as well. So we're an independent developer and publisher of video games. So I'm having some technical issues today, Colin, with my laptop, by the way. It's on a little bit of a go slow. So I don't know if my slides are actually changing or not.
No, we're still on your top slide, Rob.
I'll just talk. It's fine. It's fine. So we're an independent developer and publisher of games for PC and console, as you said, based in Cambridge. So we've been a self-publishing developer since 2014. Prior to that, we worked for Hire Studio with a long track record of success making games for other publishers. Since 2014, we've been a self-publishing studio. So we've had success since then with games such as Elite Dangerous, Planet Coaster, Jurassic World Evolution, Planet Zoo. And most recently, in fact, last Tuesday, we released Jurassic World Evolution 2 as well. So a legacy of making much loved games over the last 27 years. Looking to the future, we've got a really exciting roadmap, which includes Warhammer, Formula 1 licensed titles, which are currently in development. And we also publish games developed by external partner studios as well under our Frontier Foundry games label. Our story in recent years has very much been one of significant growth. So we've pretty much doubled in size since I joined about 4.5 years ago, and we're now 730 people. And that growth is very much continuing, and graduates are a very big part of that growth as well. So showing my slides aren't working. I have some nice pictures to show you, never mind. So just in preparing for this, I asked some of our grads what advice they'd give their younger selves, what they felt helped them get into the industry. They shared a number of things, and I just perhaps pick out a few of those which I think are perhaps most pertinent. So whatever your area of interest, whether that's art, animation, coding, you'll need a passion to create and a general love for games. I think the last two speakers talked about how difficult making games is and how challenging it is. So you'll really need to enjoy what you do, but what you create is the best way to show that passion to studios when the time comes to be applying for jobs. Post and share what you make. there's plenty of channels now for doing that. I've seen more and more graduates doing it on, LinkedIn. You've got ArtStation, create your own website, write your own blog, but share that content. Get some feedback. You get used to getting feedback and making improvements on what you develop, because that's very much, how it works when you're making games in a studio. Network, get as much experience and advice as possible. You're on this stream, which is a great start to that. Get involved in game jams, get some experience in a studio if you can. I know getting internships can be quite competitive, but even if you get a job as a temp, we've hired a lot of QA temps, for example, this year. Even if it's not in your preferred discipline, or make your own game, develop your own assets. Do that with other people if you can. And finally, you might have a very clear idea already about what you want to do in games, whether that's art, coding, design, etc. But do consider the full breadth of entry-level roles that the industry offers. I think this is something I heard Pete mention on the Codemasters talk as well. There's a lot of other roles out there, a lot of other disciplines that offer entry-level roles into the industry. That's QA, production, marketing, community management, etc. Which as well as being fantastic careers in the industry in their own right, they can also provide an alternative route into the industry to get to where you want to be. And often the barriers to entry for some of those roles in terms of qualifications and experience can be a bit lower as well. Lots of reasons why you might want to consider Frontier as your first route into the industry. What I would say is we've got a really strong track record of hiring and developing graduates over a number of years now across all disciplines within development. You'll benefit from being part of a large graduate community. We typically hire around between 50 and 60 graduate trainees a year. So you'd be part of that community of graduates and the support network that comes with that as well. And yeah, that's pretty much everything from me. Just very much looking forward to taking some questions, Colin. I think we've got time, Colin, as well. I had a short video I think we were going to play. I don't know how we're doing for time though.
Yeah, it's worth having a quick look at the video. Let's just kick that off now. How could we not play any video that has Jeff Goldblum Connectimals and roller coasters?
That was brilliant. What a good video.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks so much, Rob.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. That's been great, Rob. A quick question. The different colleges and universities that are involved today all do game-specific courses as well as general computer science, general art. Do Frontier have any preference or recommendations in terms of people doing game-specific courses versus more general ones that all three of these institutions offer?
Yeah, it's a good question, one that often comes up actually. The short answer to that is no. We don't. We hire people from games courses and from non-games courses. Particularly within programming. I'd say. We hire a lot of graduates from who've got maths degrees, particularly computer science degrees, who bring a lot of useful skills from those qualifications as well. Within art, animation, we tend to hire more from, and design, I guess, as well, more from game specific courses that teach those skills. But yeah, we're open to people from different degree disciplines, absolutely, because it's the diversity we want, right? People who can approach problems from different angles based on their different experiences.
Yeah, that is definitely one of the wonderful things about the games industry as well, is that no two people will have had the same route in, and that everybody has had such a different journey. So yeah, thanks, Rob. One more question from our Rose, which came through on the Discord. If we want to make some small practice games or even practice coding, what should we use to make them software-wise? So for Frontier specifically, is there like a particular engine or a piece of software that you'd love people to have under their belts?
Yeah, so we've got our own proprietary engine that we make our games in, so Cobra. But yeah, typically if you've got experience with Unreal, C++ programming experience, that's predominantly what we're looking for those coding roles.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, Rob, we need to move on. I'm afraid we've just got too much great advice, too many great speakers, of which you're always one. So thank you very much for taking the time to join us.
No problem. Thanks, Colin. Cheers, Georgia.
Brilliant.
Take care.
Bye,
See you,
Thanks,
everyone.
Rob. Bye for now.
Bye.
Great. Okay, so remember to jump on the Discord if you want to chat to Escape Studios, University Salford, who are just coming up, and to Abertay University. The address, if you're not already on, is discord.gamesjobs.live. And in that, you will find dedicated channels for each of those institutions. You will also find general chat channels and a live stream questions channel. So if you've got any questions for Georgia and I to put to our speakers for the couple of minutes we've got them on air, stick them in the live stream questions channel. So moving on, next we hear from the University of Salford, who have a great reputation in the north of England for the range of games courses delivered from Media City, just outside Manchester. Here from Salford is Mick Lockwood. Mick, hi.
Hi. Can you see me okay?
We can indeed. Okay,
Yep.
We'll hand over to you.
Okay, so my name is Mick Lockwood. I'm here today to talk to you about Salford University. I've got my colleague here, Nathan, who's a design lecturer, and we've got another lecturer called Rob Martin. He might come and join us later on the Discord to have a bit of a chat. I don't know, Colin, you got a screen there, a PowerPoint? Can you share that up? There we go. So I'll just go through these slides, just doing things a little bit differently, just showing you a little bit about our facilities, talking a bit about the philosophies that we engage in to deliver the education that we have, and just an excuse to show you some really good images of student work, of which this is one. So first off, as Colin just said, we're at Salford University. We're in the north of England. We're in Manchester. Well, Salford, Manchester, same difference. Well, yeah, we're at the Big MC, which is Media City. It's a really nice place to be. We're very lucky. We're right next to the BBC and ITV. It's a lovely environment, great cultural environment, exposure to a media city really, and it's just a good place to be. The course has been running for many years. We've been running now for about 15 years. We've got a fantastic community. It's not like school and college when you get here. It's just a really relaxed, really nice environment, really caring environment. Part of our reputation is about the community that we build and the community that we build amongst the students that we have. We tend to only take 40-50 students a year. We're quite selective, but we take 40-50 students a year, which allows us to know each individual student by name, obviously, and we get to know them, and it's just a great community. In addition, we're very supportive. We've got a really supportive structure, and we value the pastoral care that we give to people. We deal with individuals and not numbers, and we think that's critical to developing the students that we work with. Just talking to you a little bit about the facilities. So like we said, we're very lucky at Salford. Many years ago it wasn't like this, but more recently, Salford invested £50 million in our Media City campus. We've also got the new Adelphi building, which is a brand new building over on the main campus on Salford Crescent that you've got access to, and that's got recording studios, a library, gym, everything else. It's great. So this is inside Media City. Our rooms are fully equipped. Obviously, within Media City, you're exposed to not only games development, but we're in the same offices: animation, VFX, film, TV, radio. We've got film studios, TV studios that you have access to. You've got access to all the kit, and you've got access to all the facilities at New Adelphi as well, should you choose to use it. This is just yesterday. I just took some pictures there, and there's Nathan yesterday. This is a standard classroom, just to let you know what the facilities look like. We've got some great units with big Cintiqs, and it's good. We're well equipped. We've got a great maker space. We make things. We have workshops. It's a good operation. Something about our philosophies: we run what we call a digital Bauhaus. So when students come into us, our course is very group based. We build stuff, we make product, we build games. We take students in from both an arts and programming background, and we develop them as artists and programmers. In the first year, students cover everything. So students, the artists come in to do programming, the programmers come in and do art. We're not in the business of failing first year students at Salford. We want you to have a rich, interesting experience and understand both sides of the equation, with a design, a really rich design strand in the middle. So that's really important to us, this notion of Bauhaus. We have an absolute culture of making. So we make stuff. We want to make stuff. We don't want to write about things. We don't want to imagine making things. We want to make things from day one, whether that starts with board games all the way through to side-scrolling, first-person, third-person games, making things in terms of going into a workshop and crafting things. And we're just a making culture, and that's really important to us. We're a production facility as well. We want to produce product and develop people to have those production skills. An important point to mention about our program is we're a gateway program as well. In the Manchester area, there's probably 300 creative industry studios that do all sorts of really interesting things. And here in Media City, there's all sorts of really interesting things going on. Strictly Come Dancing and sort of Match of the Day, all the the live stuff in the Unreal Engine, everything else is made across the road. And there are countless companies doing AR, VR, interactive web development. And we understand that the skills that you acquire while you're here can be used across a myriad of different creative digital industry roles. And we push the notion of a gateway program. We also push heavily strategic planning to find employment, and we recognize that sometimes people won't go straight into AAA. Sometimes students won't go straight into, although they do from our course, won't go straight into indie. They may have to have a strategic plan in place to step into a job that they really want, and that's our objective, to put each and every student in the digital creative industry, to get them a job and then put them together a strategy to get to where they want to be over a period of time. So in a nutshell, that's the cusp of what we offer. We could go into detail about curriculum, and we're more than happy to do so. We'd just like to invite you to come and see us. Don't take my word for it, just come and see us. We have open days on the 8th of Jan. We're happy for people to just turn up. I'm here 5 days a week, all the staff are here 5 days a week. We're happy for people to knock on the door. You can have a look around, you can meet some students, you can sit in a lecture, or you can just hang out with us. We're absolutely happy to see you, and that'll be great. So in a nutshell, Colin, that's about it from us, really. I mean, if people have got any questions, we're going to be on the Discord, and that's us. That's Salford.
Brilliant stuff, guys. Thank you so much. That looks like a great course, and a lot of the students in the Discord are super interested and looking forward to asking you lots of questions in the Discord. But for now, there was a great question from Asta, which I think was again highlighted by somebody else in the Discord, who are wondering if Salford are open to students from SEND with special educational needs. And they were also wondering how someone might prepare themselves for a university degree at Salford, specifically from the age of about 16. So if there's anything they can do.
Yeah, so absolutely. I mean, we're completely inclusive. We can help people from any background in any situation. We're a full university, and we're equipped with our support services are immense. So we welcome absolutely anybody from any background in any situation, no problem at all. And what we always sort of talk to students about when when they think about early preparation for a course of this kind is to deal with the fundamentals. Like when a student comes to us, because what we do is, and this is an interesting point, we interview each and every student, yeah. And when we interview a student, it's not the Spanish Inquisition, it's just a chat. Yeah, that's all it is. It's just a chat, and it's just to make sure that, you know, they have at least a degree of competence, capability, and aptitude, you know. And if we see that somebody's got them, we can help them, we can move them forward. But in terms of artists, you know, I don't need to see digital work. I would rather see traditional artwork. I would rather see painting and sculpture, photography, basket weaving. I would rather see something craft based, you know, to prove that, or to demonstrate that they have that you know, the aptitude. And equally, those skills are absolutely critical. This isn't just about digital technology. That's just a tool. You know, we want you to have the fundamental art skills. So I would advise anybody from an art perspective to consider the traditional skills and don't underestimate them, because they're absolutely critical. The clue is in the title, artist. Yeah, the clue is in the title. So yeah, focus on the traditional and don't worry about the digital. We can deal with that when you get to us. I don't know, Nathan, do you want to do anything about programming? Do you think anything about how people prepare themselves for that?
No.
You'll do it.
Yeah, as somebody said earlier, you know, you can come in with a very, very minimal understanding, and we start at scratch. So, you know, you start with almost no understanding of how you apply any kind of programming language to a project, a games project. And yeah, we teach from the first year fundamentals of programming, weave that into you know, production with 2D and then 3D games within Unity, and then, you know, bring that onto a full year-long epic third-year project, which yeah, you create some absolutely fantastic you know, back-end systems, you know, character controllers, amazing effects and all sorts. And you know, it's just give you the skills that so that you can just explore that space as best you can.
Okay. Any other questions?
Just very, very briefly, I mean, outside of the core course, I mean, obviously you do various projects throughout the course. I mean, what would you encourage people to do, sort of extracurricular wise, just to give themselves extra experience and to you know, better prepare themselves for doing well in the course?
Again, it goes back to, I mean, from a games perspective, it'd be about engaging or downloading an engine and beginning to experiment and play, getting into games jams, that sort of thing. From an artistic perspective, it would just be developing some self-directed work, and, you know, pick up a DSLR camera and become a photographer, or, you know, just get a sketchbook and begin to sketch every day. You know, get interested in graphic design, art history. You know, anything that can inspire you. Watch it. You know, when the first years come in, we demand they stop playing games on day one and watch the top 100 films ever made. You know, read books, literature, go to the theatre, anything that can broaden your creative capital. You know, and your exposure. Don't. There's, you know, people said time and time again, to begin to make great games, you should stop playing as many games and start to look in other areas for inspiration. You know, so yeah, just to expose yourself to as much art, culture, creativity as you possibly can, and just broaden and enrichen your toolbox, really. You know, so yeah, that's what I do. If I had my time again, that's what I do.
Absolutely, sounds like good advice. And yeah, any course that's going to recommend I play the top 100 games as well as watch the films sounds like a great place to start. So you get my vote. Awesome, gents. Thank you very much for taking the time to join us.
Thank you.
Great. Cheers. Bye for now.
That was brilliant. I think I want to go back to university. All right, everybody, remember to get into the Discord to chat to Mick and his colleagues. And yeah, absolutely great. Good stuff, guys. So next we're going to go.
Actually, sorry, Georgia. I've been moving orders around because we're running late. Apologies. I forgot to let you know. So we'll move around. And actually, our next company have quietly made a name for themselves, getting involved in countless classic games like Minecraft Dungeons, Rust, Crackdown, Goat Simulator, Prison Architect. and more. So here to tell us more is Ian from Double 11. Hello, Ian.
Hello. Hi, how's it
Hi,
going?
Ian.
Good,
Hi.
thank you. I know everyone's got to get away, so we'll just let you crack on.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much. Well, it's great to be back. It's lovely to talk to people on the Games Jobs Live event. I have a presentation that I was going to just walk you through a few slides, and then I think we'll probably get on to some questions. So if you want to throw up my deck, there we go. So as Colin mentioned, we're involved with a bunch of titles. I now feel sad because I only put 3 of them in, but these are the main 3 for us at the moment. So recently, Rust Console Edition has launched to a hungry audience of people who've been desperate to play that on console for a long time. We're still part of the Minecraft Dungeons story as that continues. So as of that, when I launched last year and at the end of the year, it had been played by 10 million people. So that's continued. It's a fantastic game. I strongly encourage you to pick it up. I love it to bits. And also Prison Architect, which continues to put out extra content and DLC. And so that's what we're doing. We are known really for a bunch of things historically and now, so like downporting, so taking games, making them run on less powerful hardware, but also console ports. So a good example of that is Prison Architect, which started on PC and then moved to console. So you can play Prison Architect now on a Switch, which is both a remarkable technical achievement, but also a really great way to play the game. And it's quite different to PC in a lot of ways. Rust is a live service. We've remastered loads of titles in the past, like supporting things like Goat Simulator on multiple platforms and things like Nom Nom Galaxy and stuff like that. We work on high-end stuff like Crackdown 3, and we are a work-for-hire house. So we tend to work with partners on other people's games. We have 2 offices, one in Teesside in the northeast, which is in the lovely Tees Valley, and close to Middlesbrough, Newcastle, York, like Leeds, all sorts of places like that. And we have an office that we opened in Kuala Lumpur in 2020 in Malaysia, which is now, I think, about 15, 16 people strong, and is planning there to go into a kitted out office that's going to be ours sometime next year, I think. So that's all kind of moving and growing, and I'd encourage you to look us up and look up the area because it's really great. And we are planning to go back to offices. The big kind of hot topic in the industry at the moment is remote work and hybrid work and things like that. We're pursuing a hybrid model because our general opinion is that we should collaborate in person as much as we can, but provide the flexibility to have a good work-life balance. That's why the studio was founded. It was founded because Lee, one of our founders, had worked in AAA development for the likes of Rare and Rockstar, and had enough. He was like, there's got to be a better way to do this, and there is, and we do it. But that allows us to attract people from all over the place. So at the beginning of the pandemic, we were just over 100 people, and now we're 250. And that's because we've started to look more broadly remotely and bring people in. Those people are also really happy when they're here, which is great. So we won one of the best places to work in 2021, and we have an enviably high rating on Glassdoor. So that is all to say we're hiring, and if you're interested, you should look us up and apply. I'm conscious that this audience is probably younger, so we do have a bunch of senior positions open, which is definitely worth a look. But you should also take a look at our placement scheme, which is something that we run annually. That is real projects working on real titles. You'll be credited in a real release, and we avoid crunch and pay overtime. We think that the paying overtime and avoiding crunch are super important because you want that amazing early 20s or late teens or whatever experience of working in a game studio. But if we could avoid the burnout and the awful, that would be great. So this is something we run annually. A bunch of studios do things that are similar to this, but what we think is really good about ours is that we start talking to people with open applications February, March time. Then we do placements. We sift through everyone and do the placements June, July. And then typically that runs to May, June the following year. And that depends a little bit on the institution that people are in. We also have placements in all different roles. So everything from art and IT and design and code. And we sometimes work with institutions so that people can finish their course and take, say, 2 years to finish the year they have left on their course to stay with us and stay getting experience in industry. So quite often our placements stay on and do that, or just stay with us, or just come back to us after they've gone on and done other things. Something that was alluded to in the previous presentation, we tend to look for people doing extra stuff as well, things like game jams or their own demos or putting stuff on Git, and just contributing to open source projects. all of that sort of good stuff. It's like everybody on the course will be doing coursework. We'll be talking about the same movies, talking about the same games, books, whatever. But we also want to try and encourage to see what's special about you, I guess, and see what makes you stand out. So everyone had the same brief that they worked to. What was the special sauce that you brought to us? So in a whistle-stop tour, that's 11. I hope that's interesting. And thanks very much, Colin.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Ian. Just a couple of quick questions. I mean, one from me. I mean, obviously, you see a lot of people that are looking to join 11. Is there any sort of general sort of don't do's? Do you see people that have spent years doing something in the hope of getting a job at the likes of 11, and you just go, oh, I wish I just told you this 5 years ago or 10 years ago about what to do or not to do?
Yeah, I think one thing that I see a few times that I'm surprised by, and it doesn't happen just with junior people, is I'm the fit and finish person. And so if I see an application or something that comes through that has really obvious mistakes in it, it's very easy when you see something, especially if there's a deadline for like an application around a student placement or something like that, or a placement scheme, and you might not have heard of us. Like we're quite well known in the industry, but we're not well known outside of it, if that makes sense. You might find out about us late and go and hurriedly apply. But please do put the time into thinking carefully about tailoring your application. So quite often you'll see something that is a standard application someone sends to a lot of places. They haven't bothered tailoring it at all for the studio that they would be joining. And they put a phrase in like, this is of interest, or there's typos, or there's mistakes, or there's a reference to a previous place where they used it. Like this, the kind of courtship involved in joining a studio and getting hired and things like that, part of that is appealing to those group of people and making them warm to you. And obvious things that you can fix that are within your control, like little mistakes and errors and stuff, make me worry about the quality of what will come through. So I think that's the thing, is like you have it all within your control to kind of present yourself in the best possible way. And that's what we want to see. So really think carefully about whether you should just use the same thing as you always use, or whether you should tweak it and tailor it for the person that is about to see it.
Yeah, that is really great advice, Ian, and definitely something that everybody should be bearing in mind, no matter if you're applying for, a part-time job intermittently, or if you're applying for a full-time big boy job at 11. So one more question. You've mentioned that you guys have an absolutely excellent rating on Glassdoor. I was wondering what you guys do for fun. Do you guys have fun around the studio?
Well, 2 years ago was the before times, as you know, Georgia, and we haven't actually done that much. So we are having a Christmas do, and we're being very careful about that and having that outside. So that'll be one of the first times that a large group of us get together. But we historically have done things like there's a group of people who play football, because as a studio, we're quite geographically located near to the studio. We tend to do things like that. When we get back to the office, what we're going to continue to do is monthly team lunches. So that used to be getting food in, having food and drinks around in the studio and playing a new build of something we were working on. So that's great, because you get teams together who don't work on each other's stuff to see it. So the Rust team could see Dungeons or whatever. We're going to get back to doing that because we've done those remotely through the pandemic. And we've also got quite a good culture of people who get together and play things like D&D or poker, or just, like walking together, have dogs. We have what we call the unending pet thread on Teams. So that's like just people posting pictures of their pets and stuff like that. So there's quite a nice, people find their niche, and find their people within the organization, which is quite nice.
Oh, amazing stuff. Well, thank you so much, Ian. It was great to hear all about 11. We're going to have to move on now, sadly, but thank you so much for answering our questions.
Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, so next up, we really are going down to the south coast of England, and we're going to hear from the developers of the ridiculously successful Total War series, as well as the terrifyingly atmospheric Alien Isolation. So please let us introduce Helen West from Creative Assembly. Hello, Helen.
Good afternoon. Hopefully you can hear me.
Yeah, we've got you all right there.
Phew, good. Glad to hear it. Thank you so much. There have been so many amazing tips so far. I've been listening, but I will hopefully add a few extras so that all the students watching can keep adding them and start on your journey. I will start the presentation and hope to keep going. Right, let's see. My name is Helen West. I'm a corporate and social responsibility coordinator at Creative Assembly. So I sit within the recruitment team and work in education outreach for our award-winning legacy project. I want to tell you a little bit about who we are and how we connect to education, but also about what we're like as a studio, our games and our people, what we tend to look for in people, and hopefully give you a few tips to take away. So I work with my colleague Joanna, organising all the education outreach. You can see here, Joanna is, she tends to work with primary schools and secondary schools. And here she's with some very young game makers using a coder pillar to introduce the students to the foundational skills to coding. And I tend to work with students aged 16 plus, generally with colleges and universities. Creative Assembly has a partnership with Teesside University, and we're heavily involved in their games course. But we also work with, also in partnership with ELAM, the East London College of Art and Music, and with Next Gen Skills Academy, who offer courses at industry selected colleges across England. And we collaborated with them recently to create a virtual work experience for students aged 14 to 19. And it can be used as a career advice tool in secondary schools across the UK. We also work with Escape Studios, and in fact, I think they're on as well today. We're frequently working with them, and I think we've got about 3 events with them in the next 2 weeks. So we do work very closely with them. As well as Abertay, who are on, we have a developer, one of our VFX programmers up there in about 10 days, and we'll be there for a couple of days, sort of collaborating on various modules with them. And Bournemouth, Brighton, Staffordshire, Newcastle, lots and lots of universities, as well as colleges closer to our studio in Horsham. So our education programme, which is the Legacy Project, as I say, it's won the Best Industry Education Awards for the last 2 years running. And then this year we won the Corporate Social Responsibility Award because we worked hard to try and address inequalities in society through access to technology and education. And we provided over £30,000 worth of tech to colleges at various colleges in the UK. We also launched a scholarship programme with Teesside University for the very first time, and I had the privilege of interviewing the applicants for that scholarship last week. So it really is very exciting news for us, for Creative Assembly. It's the first time we've done this. We're looking forward to starting it this academic year. We have over 150 what we call ambassadors in our studio. We have over 800 people, 800 developers in our studio, but about 150 of them, possibly more now, are CA ambassadors, and they work with us to deliver the education outreach. So they deliver lectures, masterclasses, workshops, mentoring, career advice, but they also collaborate in game jams. I mean, you name it, we deliver it. Very, very dedicated people. But onto our games, as you mentioned before in the introduction. Thanks, Georgia. We are best known for the long-running Total War series, which has sold over 20 million copies. And earlier this year, we announced the Total War Warhammer 3. In addition, in 2020, we released the Total War Saga Troy with 7.7 million downloads in the first 24 hours. I know that Colin's favourite, I think, he's more of a Alien Isolation person, which was released in 2014. And we are indeed now in full development of our brand new FPS IP. Sorry, my slides aren't, there we go. We are truly an award-winning studio, from BAFTAs to Ivor Novello's and Game of the Year awards. We do like winning our awards and our big games. But let's have a little bit of a look at the life inside behind the games. So Colin, if you're able to play the video, that'd be amazing. Thank you. So hopefully you get a bit of a snapshot of what things are like for us, and we can also see a bit about one of our parties, because yes, the people are who make Creative Assembly such a fantastic award-winning studio. We have won the best places to work for the last 5 years in a row, and for the second year in a row this year, our studio director won the award for the UK's best boss. I cannot quite convey how wonderful our developers and just what awesome humans they all are. And I'm very excited. I mean, it's very obvious to sort of say this because we're award winners, but it's something so hard to explain how good and how wonderful and how engaging all our developers are. The sense in the community that we have is something that's very, very unique and very, very special, but hard to explain. We have 46 nationalities working in the studio, and we are continuously expanding. We've had over 200 new team members last year join us. They've been onboarding remotely, but hopefully we'll be all joining in the studio together once we return. So now about you, I'm aware that there'll be a spectrum of students listening to this now, and some of them might be very, very focused on where they want to go. Others might be just know that they want to work in games, but not quite sure which discipline, because it is a huge breadth of different roles out there. And I just wanted to say, don't worry if it feels a bit confusing, because there are never-ending lists of job titles that can often be seem very vague or even too specific, but quite hard to comprehend. And often different studios use different kinds of job titles for pretty much the same role. It confuses us as well, and we're inside the industry. So I just wanted to put this slide up because it shows us 14 different areas that we broadly categorize our roles. But actually there's probably another one which would be live operations now, which probably warrants its own unique category because it's developing so quickly as the games industry develops at speed. The next slide I think is pretty helpful because it's probably very hard for you to see because it's quite blurred, but our marketing team recently produced this. It's a very, very high level introductory view of the disciplines that I mentioned before, but also the different skills and software that we would see that you would be necessary across disciplines. We absolutely haven't covered all the areas, and we wouldn't profess to say that this is it, nothing else. But we thought that it was quite a good entry point for people wanting to find out more about the industry. And I would really encourage you to have a look at this on our website. It drills down further. So if there's a couple of areas that you're thinking of, then have a look and see what skills and both hard skills and soft skills we would be looking for. We also have a lot of information on our website aside from that will just help you as you start getting into the industry and as you start on your studies on this path. We put something together called the Creative Chronicles with the aim of giving you insight in how we work and the skills that are developed within the studios, how we go about certain processes, what are our pipelines, who do you work with, what kind of career trajectory could you expect with certain disciplines. And some of them are very, very in-depth and very technical, and some of them are very high level and are delivered by different people at different stages in their careers within our studio. But they're all developed with the aim of helping people interested in the industry and to get a better understanding of what happens behind the studio. Obviously, we've got our YouTube channel. We often do live stream portfolio reviews, and they will be streamed on Twitch, but then they'll be passed over to our YouTube channel. So you could have a look at some of our artists reviewing work that's been sent in by other university students around the country. Obviously, we've got Twitter that's obviously with all the latest news, but our art station would be great to see not just the style, but also the standard of the kind of things that we would be expecting to see if you wanted to come and join us eventually after your studies. So hopefully that's given you a few tips to take away as you start your journey. I definitely would say check out the resources. There is so much out there. I mean, there's so much on our website alone, but I mean, obviously there are so many good technical masterclasses available for free that you can get quite in-depth information very readily. And so the studios, I would say, the sort of AAA studios definitely would be expecting that you do this homework because it's so much available now. But feel free to have a look on the links below, but also reach out to me on LinkedIn if you want to, and I'm absolutely happy to help you as you advance on your career journey. Thank you very much.
Amazing. Oh, so great to hear from you, Helen. And that was an absolutely fabulous presentation. I love the video especially. And you guys, Creative Assembly are everywhere. I got feedback on my portfolio when I was a student just by turning up to EGX every year. And there was always a Creative Assembly booth ready to have a look at my work and give me some crit. So these guys, they really do help you out if you're looking to get into the industry.
I can't tell you how much our developers love doing it. They literally fight over each other to do this because they just really enjoy. A lot of them will say, I remember Creative Assembly coming to talk to me at university, and that changed something for me, and I want to do that for somebody else. And it's amazing. It's amazing. They genuinely love it.
Yeah, I think I got some portfolio changing advice from one of those sessions. And as I say, just from turning up to EGX. So guys, keep your eyes out for Creative Assembly. All right, we've got some questions for you. So the first question that I wanted to ask is sort of along the lines of your, you mentioned all of the awards that you guys have won and how it feels to work at Creative Assembly. So I was wondering what you see as the advantages of joining a big studio like Creative Assembly, maybe rather than like an indie or a smaller studio.
Well, I'm not going to say one's better than the other because I think they're just very different. And one might be very right for you, one might be very wrong for you. And it's very much, but you're right. I think it's very important to get a feel of a studio. I'm sure sometimes when you're a student, you just want to get in any old shape or form. But studios do have their personalities. We know people who have left and come back. You know, sometimes you think the grass is greener. But we don't go chasing people because we know that they come to us. It's like the work that we do in education outreach. We're not doing it to get people to come and work for us because hopefully all that we do just raises the standard of the industry, and they can go off to work for any studio because we'll all benefit in the end. And then eventually, you know, they might choose to come and work for us. That would be great if they do. But if it's wrong for them, then that's not the right thing. I would say a larger studio can sometimes have there's the obvious perks in terms of benefits and salary and that kind of thing. We are able to support people and we have a very tried and tested method of developing people throughout their career. And we have a lot of people who, if you work hard here, you will, you know, we have people who came in as trainees and in 5-6 years are now leads because we really, really do nurture our talent once you're inside. And I think that we appreciate people who've come in and we see that we take time to nurture and to help people grow. And we have those resources to do that. So that is a privilege. People can also become absolute experts in their specialism. Generally, as you know, the smaller studios everybody will be required to be more of a generalist. If you absolutely know what you want to do and you want to do that specific part of your discipline, if you know you want to be a character artist and do nothing but character art, then this is a bigger studio will allow you that time to absolutely perfect the skills that you have, and similar for the other disciplines as well. We're very fortunate at Creative Assembly to have a degree of security as well. We've been running for a long, long time. Not all studios are able to do that just because of the nature of the games process, you know, the releasing of games. We do have a huge security also being part of Sega, and so it means that we can support people for a long time, a longer career. And, you know, when a project's finished, it doesn't mean, gosh, what am I going to do next? What happens next? We are able to medium and long-term plan people's careers.
Great stuff. Just picking up on that, Helen. I mean, in terms of, you know, given the size of Creative Assembly, how much mobility is there? I mean, if someone doesn't know exactly what they want to specialise in and they go down one path, but then they fancy a change or think they might be better at something else, is there scope for that once they're already in, or do they need to have made that decision before they come to you or before they've even gone to university, for example?
Oh, I think Creative Assembly definitely puts people first. That's why it is this. I feel like I didn't speak very well about it during the presentation. It's very hard to put into words, but they're very much people-centered studio. Firstly, they'll want to see that you've got skill and passion and drive. If you have those things, but then you realise, actually, I've decided that I particularly like this area now, having thought about it, then of course that will be listened to. And if you can prove your worth in that area, then of course there will be a position for you. There will be a degree of flexibility. We wouldn't really want somebody to apply for 6 different jobs. We would probably query that. But if once you're working with us and you're exposed to different parts within the studio, and then you take time and you evidence how much you're going to be able to offer in a different discipline, then things do happen. That does happen. We've even had, for example, times where we've interviewed people and they absolutely want to go for a certain thing, and then they've mentioned something in their interview, and we go, have you ever considered that? Because we think you'd be really good at this. And they think about it, and think we are flexible. We see people, we see the whole side of a human, but mainly what we're after is somebody who's will go the extra mile, is very dedicated, very, very passionate, and very energetic. Every single time I come off a call with my developers, any one of my developers, I come away thinking, wow, I need to up my game, but not in a sort of aggressive, slightly scary way, in this collaborative way. It's like, I just want to be better. I just want to be better because I feel they're just surrounded by people who are wanting to just, crack on, get better. How can we better? How can we make this? How can we improve in a really positive way, not in a pressured, scary way? And I've never encountered that before in any previous job. It's quite remarkable.
Yeah, no, I mean, the studio's famous for having a brilliant set of people. And I was disappointed you made reference to my 6 applications for random jobs. I hope I could get my foot in the door, but, never mind.
Maybe change the name next time. Change the name, Colin.
Helen, I know we need to let you go. Thank you so much for coming on today. That's been fantastic.
Absolute pleasure. Always love coming on here. You do so much for the students, and if they're able to watch this back, you will have a wealth of information. What you guys do is brilliant. Thank you so much, Games Job Live.
Brilliant. Awesome. Thank you so much, Helen. Cheers.
Thank
See you soon.
you, Helen. Goodbye. Oh, amazing stuff. And guys, keep an eye out for their traineeships that Helen mentioned, because those are absolutely brilliant and quite famous as well amongst students in the industry. So next up, I think this is finally, actually, is this finally, Colin?
It is,
finally. Yeah. All right. Well, finally, we have a company that does not make games itself, but they do make the games engine that is used by 1.5 million game developers to make games that are played by over 2 billion, that is billion with a B, people. They also make the engine that is used for over half of all games for mobile devices. So that's a lot of games come through this engine. So here from Unity is Suma Amrez. Hi, Suma.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we've got you all right there.
Nice one, nice one. So yeah, I'll get straight into it then. Crack on. So yeah, welcome to the presentation of getting into games with Unity. So next one, let me tell you a bit about who we are. So first things first, my name is Suma Amrez. I studied computer science at the University of Hull, and I'm originally from Newcastle, England. So obviously with computer science, I was kind of doing some extracurricular stuff on the side. I was always trying to see what area I wanted to specialize in, which industry I wanted to jump into. Because obviously computer science is a pretty broad subject, so there's a lot of different niches that you can transition into. So what I ended up doing was I experimented with 2D, 3D, and a bit of VR as well with the Unity engine, which led me to an 11-month internship placement with them, which was very, very fortunate. Currently, I'm a software engineer responsible behind all things quality for any of Unity's releases. That comes from the engine itself to the packages with that engine itself. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a message whenever. You can find me on most of my socials, Suma Amrez, or even email me at suma.amrez@unity3d.com. So one thing that we honestly believe is that we believe that the world is a better place with way more creators in it. And we believe that Unity provides a platform that can obviously enable more creators, hopefully. So Unity is the world's leading platform for creating and operating interactive, real-time 3D and 2D content. Creators such as game developers, artists, architects, automotive designers, filmmakers, and more use Unity to make their creations come to life. As you can see there on the right-hand side, that is a snapshot of the Unity engine itself, showcasing a demo of how to make volumetric clouds, which they also did in Red Dead Redemption 2. Fun fact. That was a new feature released as part of the new 2021.2 engine, which came out about a month ago. So could you, if you don't mind, could you play the clip, Colin? Awesome. So that every single one of those games that you saw over there were actually made on the Unity engine, and that's just a small slice of what is made with Unity. So let me just continue to share my screen again, and we'll move past this part. I'll tell you a few key facts that might blow your minds, but it might not. So with Unity, you can deploy your creations across 25 plus platforms, from anything from mobile to consoles to PC to VR, you name it, you can probably deploy it to it. So 71% of the top 1,000 mobile games on the stores were made with the Unity engine. 5 billion downloads per month are of apps that are built with Unity as well. Over 50% of all games across mobile, PC, and console were also made with the engine, and over 80% of AR and VR content. So with Unity, there's around 2.5 billion monthly active users that consume content or operate within Unity itself, and over 190 countries itself have Unity creators, which is it absolutely blew my mind when I first learned about that as well. So let me tell you about how you guys can get started as well, and how you can experiment, how you can dip your toes and hopefully become the creator that you guys want to be, right? So to begin learning, we highly recommend you start with learn.unity.com. So if there's multiple disciplines there, from audio design to art design, programming, all that starts from a kind of basic beginner level as well. So it's got great stuff, so you can dip your toes in there. Of course, use the Unity documentation, take your time and read more about certain features if there's something that you don't understand, like you want to understand how it works. And obviously experience is the best teacher, right? So just dive right in there. And one thing that I genuinely believe is that with consistency, every single one of you that's watching this has what it takes to become the creator that you desire. Obviously, throughout life, if we look at like when we were younger as well, we tend to consume a lot more content rather than be a bit more creative. Of course, it varies from person to person, but I would say the majority of the world is more about consuming content rather than creating it. So, of course, we highly recommend that you dip your toes in and experiment as much as possible. Also, engage with the community. There's a massive forum and Discord user base with Unity as well. So if there's anything that you feel like is just not sticking with the documentation of the tutorials, ask away, and I'm pretty sure someone out there will be able to answer your question. And I'll leave you with a nice little quote from Sir Arthur C. Clarke, who co-wrote 2001: A Space Odyssey, the movie. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So go and create your magic, right? So, of course, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot them right now. Thank you for listening to the presentation.
Suma, that was great. Some brilliant advice, definitely. And certainly, I mean, you touched on it about you know, sort of getting practice making games, not just consuming games, not just consuming content, but making stuff. I mean, I think it's still good experience to consume games, but I would just say to people, do it critically. Don't just play it sort of mindlessly. Think about what you like and don't like and how you do it differently. But brilliant advice. And one question: what would you say are the differences in your day-to-day work when you're working on games tech, like, you know, a games engine like Unity, as opposed to working on a game itself in a traditional game dev studio?
Of course. So when you're working with the technology behind the engine, I would say within a game studio, obviously you have more of a vision, and then you go and then you implement that slowly but surely. So you'd get the certain features that you want. Oh yeah, we're going to build towards this. Oh, we should do this, this and that. Working with the tech is completely flipping that on the head and being like, right, how do we help those that want to be creatives, like, use this tool with like a low entry, like without having to like overcomplicate the process for them. Of course, and engines are super complicated tools. There are millions and millions of moving parts towards them. So the last thing you would want in production, especially, is to have those tools fail on you, right? So I would say a lot of it would be kind of trying to put ourselves within the user's footsteps. So we would try to build games, etc. But a lot of it is kind of just trying to break it, really, rather than be creative and create like a finished product, of course. Of course, I'm still new to the industry as well. So I've been working at Unity, if you don't count my placement year, for about 4 months since July. So I just graduated uni. So I haven't really had a chance to go into the games industry, but I can tell you my experience from game jams, which I participated in a lot of. Yeah, those were great fun. So I highly recommend those as well. To all you
Your
watching.
experience is much fresher than mine, which is decades out of date. Although it's great being in the industry for so long, getting into the industry is something quite a while in the past for me.
Yeah, it's a different game now. Oh, brilliant stuff, Suma. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it's, you know, so many different moving parts. And when I try to describe a games engine to people, I sort of try to tell them, you know, imagine like the actual engine of a car, and like everything's sort of got to come back to this one piece of tech that's got to work very, very smoothly. So yeah, really great to hear about your experiences there. So I was wondering if you might be able to tell us a little bit about how it's like to work for such an international company, and if you've perhaps heard of like anyone having any opportunities to relocate or go and check out studios in other parts of the world.
100%. So what I would say, what Unity kind of shows every single time is that they genuinely put their people that work for them above anything else. They will invest whatever you ask. So from anything from like social stuff to actual like personal development stuff. Even I've seen it multiple times where not necessarily just developers, anyone working within the company. Oh yeah, I want to go work in the Europe branch or the America branch or in Japan or in Korea or any. We have around like 45 offices in I think over 50 countries worldwide. So there's like a massive amount of variety, and it's the kind of vibe at Unity is like, we trust you as a professional. We know that you want to do what you want to do. That's why you're here. So we won't micromanage you. We'll just let you do your thing. And yeah, you're a professional. We trust you. And that's literally all it is. And everyone gets on. Everybody wants to improve themselves. It's definitely something that I've never ever experienced before in any of my previous jobs. Even the smaller studios that I did some work experience with, till this day, it still blows my mind.
Oh, that's so great to hear that you've had such a good experience. Really awesome. Well, I hope you continue doing amazing things at Unity.
Just wanted to say one more thing, actually.
Yeah, go for it.
If there's any people that eventually, they're at university or they're in the later stages or maybe even early stages of their career, I highly recommend that you look at the careers website for Unity itself. They do internships for summer, placement years. They do, they hire juniors as well across multiple disciplines. So it's not necessarily just if you want to be a programmer. If you want to be anything that you kind of want to specialize in, have a look on the website, and I'm pretty sure you'll find something. So I think that goes for the case for multiple jobs worldwide. But yeah, use the internet as a tool and don't let it consume you, of course.
Yeah, good advice there. And I think you shared your socials at the start, but if you want to reshare those in the Discord, I think you
100%.
have access to like hop in and share those. So if anybody has any further questions, I think you shared your Twitter, right? So you might be able to ask.
I think so, yeah. So
your email.
Yeah, my email and all the socials have the same name, Suma Amrez, and I'll share those in the Discord later as well.
Oh, thanks so much, Suma. You've been incredibly helpful. We'll let you go now. Thank
Anytime.
you so much for your presentation.
Thank you very much for having me.
Great, thanks so much.
Bye. Well, I think that is us. We have heard from an absolutely amazing array of brilliant organizations with some incredible advice that we really hope helps everybody on their journey into the games industry. I've definitely learned some things today. Many thanks to all of the companies that have taken part today. So we've had Creative Assembly, Frontier Developments, Codemasters, Unity and Double 11, and of course to the wonderful Escape Studios, Abertay University and the University of Salford for their support in making today happen. Please do go and chat to them. I'm sure they'll be sort of wrapping up their conversations by now, but you might be able to say a quick hi and a thank you to them in the Discord.
Great stuff. Thanks, Georgia. I feel obligated to say that if you enjoyed this, please do like and subscribe to the channel, and also check out the Games Jobs Live website. at www.gamesjobs.live, where you can also sign up to our free newsletter to keep you up to date with all our future events. And if you didn't register for today yet, but you've just jumped on the live stream, if you want to still register at career.gamesjobs.live, if you give us permission, we can pass your details along to Abertay, to Salford, and to Escape Studios so that they can send you more details about their courses. We also have a jam running at the moment. So if you're, it just started on Sunday, but it's got 5 days to run. If you want to take part in a jam that gets in front of a bunch of the companies that we've had on today and many more, get along to jam.gamesjobs.live. I would just like to say thank you again, to echo George's thanks to all the companies, all the organisations, and also to say thanks to our Discord moderators, to Gianmarco, to Elspeth, to Sam, to David, to Marshall. Thank you so much. Escape Studios, University of Salford and Abertay are on the Discord for a little bit longer, so make sure you get on and get all your questions in. The link is discord.gamesjobs.live.
Well, this has been brilliant. Thanks so much for having me, Colin, and thank you for your wonderful work. And to you guys, we really hope to see everybody in the games industry very, very soon. Thank you so much for watching.
Thanks. Bye.